Well, good afternoon, one and all. It's a lovely, mild, sunny day here in North Lincolnshire, but despite the climatic conditions, there is much wailing and gnashing of teeth in the House of Slick. I'll point this out and share this with anyone that's interested. On the rebuild of the Yamaha Diversion 600, some time ago, I mentioned in a video, a previous keeper owner has butchered the wiring harness. Now, I personally loathe this kind of thing where people start getting snips out. So if you're going to fit, for example, aftermarket indicators, people will snip the wires because the aftermarket ones come with bullet connectors. So they'll snip the original wiring harness. This is a kind of vandalism when Paul Messenger makes fantastic adapters for it. Same with the rectifier. Some people try to move it by snipping wires and soldering them instead of buying a kit from me. It's vandalism, and I say to people, you will be cursed for it. Well, I'm cursing the previous keeper of this bike. I decided to replace the wiring harness. I thought I'll buy from a 1996 Yamaha Diversion 600 in the UK a used wiring harness in good condition. I duly found one for 25 quid. And I said, can you tell me the year? Can you confirm it? Absolutely. I think you know what's coming, but just bear with me. So there's a picture of both wiring harnesses. So I spent a great deal of time removing all the sticky, gooey insulating tape off the new one, the replacement one, because it gets gooey over the years. They get petrol on them as solvents, and it goes gooey and disgusting. So I used self-amalgamating tape and patiently undid all the insulating tape that was on it and then replaced it with self-amalgamating tape, thinking, clever me, aren't I doing well? Well, pride comes before a fall. I'm not naturally suffering from hubris, but I was feeling pretty pleased that it was looking good, and it was a standard wiring harness. So I connected it from the front end of the bike backwards at about 11:30 last night in the garage. Now there is the self-amalgamating tape. I'd cleaned all the connectors with Deoxit, which is an expensive but excellent deoxidizing spray for contacts. The wires there, the two bullet connectors are 2 out of the 4 heaters on the carburetors. And I thought, this is great. So I started at the front end, routed all the cable tied it in place, worked my way backwards to where all the relays are on the bike at the back right-hand side of the bike. So everything is going really well. Except then I found several blocks that didn't correspond to anything. If you look at that, the top one with the orange tape on, put on by a previous keeper, obviously he grabbed the first roll of insulating tape that he'd found and whacked it on there. And if you look at underneath, that's the replacement one. So until that point, these wiring harnesses are identical. But those blocks don't line up. So my first thought was, I've gone and lost some relays in the garage somewhere and put them in a drawer, whatever, like squirrel nutkin, which is one of my favourite tricks, putting things away and not finding them. Does anybody else suffer from that? I have to put my bike keys down in certain places, otherwise I lose them. I lost my glasses the other day for my reading classes, and ransacked the house and the garage and found them on top of my own head, like you wear sunglasses up there. Anyway, I digress. So look at the difference. That's the difference in the rear end. At the very end of the cable, you've got the orange one above, and you've got that big, it looks like a 12-pin block, and underneath you can see where that corresponds. And then you've got a square one and a little one, but there's all these others. It's wrong. So I then checked on the original wiring harness off the bike that was working fine apart from being butchered. It has 4 fuses. You'll see there, look, 10, 10, 15. No, it's 30, 10, 15, and then 15 amp head. All right? So that is the original one off the bike, which was working perfectly well. But my thought was, as I say, since I've got this far, I may as well replace all this butchered wiring. So that is what the fuse box looks like. I should have checked this first, really. However, hindsight is a wonderful thing, and I am obviously fallible. Here is the one on the replacement. Oh yes, it's got 5 fuses. And the bottom one says hazard. So obviously this is off a bike from 1996 that's got hazard warning lights on it. So it's quite clearly, although up until the fuse box and the tail end, it's all the same. I just don't think it's going to work because there's that whopping big 12-pin block at the back that doesn't go into anything. So it was, as I say, 11:30, midnight last night. I'd been faffing around in the garage too long, really, and I was tired. You know, you get tired, and I tend to sort of get hyperactive when I'm tired, and I thought, no, I'm going to carry on. Well, despondency set in. So that picture there shows the original wiring harness complete with its orange tape that is soon going to be removed. So I'm back to plan A now. I'm going to fit the original wiring harness, and I'm going to have to come up with a relay, connect it to a live wire, switch live somewhere to the fuel pump, which is what the original harness was like. I've got the relay. I can't run it on the standard relay, which I bought on AliExpress, a brand new fuel relay. But of course now I don't have a block terminal to plug into it because the previous keepers snipped a load of wires. So give me your thoughts. I feel despondent now. This is the sort of thing that I suppose besets someone who embarks upon something like this. I still don't wish I hadn't started. I'm glad I'm doing it because the bike is looking good, as you can see from this photo at the end of this video. But it's the sort of thing, you know, stripping the bike, I had the bolt from hell problem. And in the reverse, I've now got the electrical side of things. But I can go back to plan A, and I'll have to bend with the wind, I think. Because I could be buying used wiring harnesses forever and keep getting the wrong one, I think. It's so difficult on eBay, buy pictures only. So I may look for another wiring harness that's got only 4 fuses in it, but then the problem is you don't know whether the wires are burned or there's any breaks. At least I know the one I've got does work, albeit with a jerry-rigged fuel relay. So let me know what your thoughts are. I do feel a bit despondent, although progress is being made. And as I said in my previous video, I think it's possibly an age thing. You know, you're so aware of what can go wrong that I suppose you end up not doing anything. Because as you get older, youthful, ignorance is bliss, isn't it? You're not aware of what can go wrong. I'm aware that if I buy another wiring harness, it might have a break in it somewhere, and it might be even worse than the one I've got. So, to shut myself up, I'm going to just fit that original wiring harness. I'm going to refurb it this afternoon. I'll know it works, and then I will come up with a separate modification to wire in a relay-controlled fuel pump supply. So, I'd welcome your comments. I'm despondent. Oh, woe is the house of slick. In the meantime, take care everyone, and I will post again soon if I haven't jumped in the river by then. Bye for now.